RedventsTV. This is Kyohh, and no long talking. Let me just get into this bullshit because everybody's been talking about it. I've sort of held myself back until the end of this Chelsea game, which just finished, and we'll cover that as well a little bit. But the main thing is, I think it's time to, for me anyway, to address the issue that is the GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo. I've been seeing online a lot of, people's opinions on what's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo and what he did against Tottenham. And for those who don't know, but unless you're living under a rock, everybody knows that he left the pitch. Not even the pitch. He refused to come on as a sub. Walked off in the 89th minute when the final subs were being made. Walked off down the tunnel and then promptly left Old Trafford. Tell me what part of that is not disrespectful to the club, the fans, the manager, and his teammates. Like, tell me what part of that does not reek of disrespect and petulance. Tell me. I'll wait. I'm not waiting forever because it is what it is. That's exactly what it is. Like I said, that is what it is. The truth is, we've seen this and we know this about the man for the longest while. We've seen it in his younger days whilst he played for us. We saw it a lot of times playing for Real Madrid, and we're seeing it again. The only difference between those times and this time is his productivity and his goals and his scene-stealing moments on the pitch are no longer enough, or they're not happening often enough to cover the fact that as a human, he can be a little bit of a prick sometimes. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck, right? And that was a dick move. Fucking dick move. And I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. So I'm sure a lot of the other fan bases is disappointed. But my main point of the matter is that I don't think there's a question about whether he did anything right or wrong. What he did was wrong. Whether he felt justified or not, it was wrong. And nobody, in my opinion, I don't recall, especially in United's history, of a player doing something like that. And play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and unfortunately you're dealing with a manager that has a backbone, that actually has cojones and a backbone, and you're training with the under 21s right now, and that's exactly what you deserve. And you didn't play or was even on the bench for Chelsea today, and that's exactly what you deserve. You are still my GOAT, and you will always be my GOAT. But guess what, bruv? And the greatest manager in English football has said it, and probably will continue to say it until the day that he dies. No player is bigger than the club. And frankly, in my opinion, you don't love our club. In my opinion, the way that I see it, I don't think you love our club. I think you have fondness for it. I think you have some respect for it, but it's waning, that's for sure, for you to do something like this. Because you've always been about self, you've always been about your career, and Madrid, it was your dream move, not United. United was a dream, yes, but in terms of, or a very good stepping stone for you, but also at the same time gaining the prestige and everything like that. But Madrid was your dream move. That was your dream destination. And we're always just gonna be second best. And even if that's not the case, the fact in your mind, the fact still remains that you gave your best years to Real Madrid, and we only got the beginning of the as you were peaking, and now we're getting you on your decline. And in both cases, we see the worst of you without actually seeing the worst of you as a player, and as a person and as a professional, without seeing the best of you as a footballer, and that's unfair. And we should not accept that. And in my opinion, kudos to our manager, Erik ten Hag, for setting him straight and showing him who's the fucking boss. And I'm all for that, right? So, I've been looking and seeing what Gary Neville has been saying, what Rio Ferdinand has said, what Roy Keane has said as well, and they come across as apologists for Ronaldo's behavior, and they try to explain that Ronaldo feels disrespected and you, and people online, even the Ronaldo stands, are saying, and I'm a Ronaldo fan, I'm a huge Ronaldo fan, Ronaldo is my GOAT, not Messi. But the point of the matter is, I think I'm inclined enough and I'm individualistic enough and I'm a human and I have a brain enough to know where even the person that I idolize or put on a pedestal can do wrong and can be human and can make mistakes and has to be called out on those mistakes. They're not perfect, and for some reason these guys can't seem to be able to just sit there and say that was wrong, he shouldn't have done that, and whatever he gets is what he had coming to him for those actions, and he needs to set a better example. I don't think there's any more of a conversation than that. I think that if you're trying to humanize the player, I kind of understand that. Even I would play devil's advocate and say this guy has gone through so much over the last year, especially at the beginning of the season. He's lost a kid. Lord knows how the hell do you come back and play football so quickly after losing a child? You know what? Nobody knows the guy's mindset, what he's going through. He could even be trying to do that to keep himself from mourning the death of his child. We don't know what's the state of the family at home, what he and his wife are going through. Like it's a lot to deal with. So I guess some sort of understanding and humane treatment and empathy should go out to him, but it still doesn't excuse those type of actions. You understand? I've been in situations, and I'm sure everyone has been in a situation like this at some point in their life, where it would have been best for them to have left their emotions and their personal problems at the front door when they enter into work, and unfortunately they were not able to, and it either got them in trouble, it got them talked at, it got them fined, it even got them fired. I'm sure we've all been or know someone who's been in that position, and at the end of the day, as much as you want to feel for that person, if they bring you, your team, or themselves or your business into disrepute, you have to deal with them, and albeit you should deal with them in the most humane way possible, but they still have to be dealt with. And when I say that, I don't mean always punished or anything like that, but I mean that situation has to be dealt with. You can't let that slide. You can't let that happen. You can't perpetuate that kind of behavior, because even if it isn't, it's eventually going to turn toxic. And you know what? It blows my fucking mind. Like everything Pogba did. No, he wasn't the best. And he wasn't the best professional. He wasn't the best footballer as he was supposed to be. And he got the right amount. I think he got over the amount of stick, obviously, because then there was, racist stuff going on with him as well, in terms of what was, levied against him by fan base and people and the media. But the bottom line is, the same energy isn't being kept for Ronaldo. It's almost apologetic. It's almost conducive to that type of behavior, and if we want to improve as a club, if we want to go where Ten Hag wants to take us, that shit cannot be allowed. Not from him, definitely not from him, and definitely not from the youths who will be looking at him pulling those princess tantrums. Madness, fucking madness. So in essence, as much as I feel for him, and maybe some of this is born from the issues and the things that he's going through, inclusive of maybe the fact that he understands or he realizes, or not even realizes, maybe he's in denial that his powers are waning, his influence, his abilities, and all of that is waning, and lashing out because of that, because people are treating him the way that he is right now, but he doesn't see himself like that. You know what I mean? And even if it's like a temporary dip because of what he's going through, I don't even think he can admit that he's going through a dip. You know what I mean? But let's be also honest, he should be also be admitting that he's on the decline. His attitude shows that he's not facing that reality. And unfortunately, you have to learn that the hard way. That's the game. The game shows you whether you want to or not when your time is up. And whilst his time may not be up in football at the highest level, he might have another season or two. I think the days of him being the number one player, clear and above everyone else in whatever league he's in, is long gone. And it's over, and he has to adjust the same way he adjusted his style to become a goal machine. He now has to adjust to what best role he can play in a team. If he goes to a team where competition is fierce or they play a certain style, like Man United, you have to understand you have to play a certain role and you have to accept that or get out, which he tried to do. But he also, I think he also understands, look at what you've done. You've been so, I don't want to say greedy, but you've so wanted so much for yourself and so wanted and demanded so much that you've literally almost priced yourself out of your own sport. Nobody would want to come and pay that kind of money for you. And the only teams that can do that, you could count on one hand. There's only a few teams in top 5 leagues in Europe that can afford to do that. And even then, it's not financially viable really for them. It's a huge investment even for them. You have to eat some humble pie and understand that whilst you still have that Ronaldo GOAT status, that shit gets very old when you're not pulling your old numbers. And for everybody who's being an apologist for Ronaldo and saying, well, Ronaldo is bigger than the club and blah 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 blah. I know some of you all are trolling, but the ones who truly believe that, I mean, think of it this way: Ronaldo has many businesses and many business ventures and everything like that where the employees represent him. If any one of them were to bring their own personal business and issues into the workspace and brought his brand into disrepute, they will be gone like that. You understand? And even put yourself in that situation. If you owned a business and someone was treating your business like they didn't care about how your brand was perceived, wouldn't you get rid of them? Or wouldn't you want to discipline them or educate them on how you would like, or re-educate them on how you would like them to behave when representing your company? I think the answer to that is yes, right? So how is this dude any different? So frankly, in my opinion, you're my GOAT. You're always gonna be my GOAT, but you could kindly fuck off with attitude. Just fuck all the way off, right off. Do one, as they say. So I'm hoping that this is a case where you sit in front of your teammates, you have a discussion with them, you apologize for being a prick to them and not supporting them and not showing them what are doing good things. I understand that as a human it's hard, I'm sure. I don't know exactly the pressure, but I can only imagine that the pressure that you see, that you deal with on a everyday basis to be the GOAT and do GOAT things, gets to you eventually. But that was the worst time to have that moment. And it only seems like you have those moments when it's not going your way, and it's not even a case of where that reaction is even warranted. So you're gonna have to pay the piper. If Ten Hag is anything like the Ten Hag that was coaching Ajax, normally a player that would have done something like that would be out the door, not on loan or anything like that, would be out the door, never to be seen again. So it's very possible that you're on the chopping block. I know he wants to leave. I know, but he's tried to. But you know what? I don't know exactly what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what was happening with him. So at the end of the day, you're still with the club, whether you like it or not. Do your freaking job. You're actually getting paid very well for it. So at least show up and do your job. And if you're meant to sit on that bench, sit on that fucking bench and wait your turn. Because frankly, you haven't been doing good things on the pitch every time you've gotten a chance. So you haven't earned your right to be on that pitch. If you want to be the GOAT, and if you have to do good things. And for now, right now, you're only the GOAT by name, by reputation, because you're surely backing it up on the pitch, and nothing is wrong with that. Everybody goes through dips. Everybody goes through those issues, and as a fan base, United fans and the club is like we're like that ex or that girl that you grew up with that always had a crush on you, or always loved you, or always cared about you, and you went off and you married the hot girl, cheerleader girl, then was always by your side, always helping you out, and then when that marriage inevitably failed, we're there for you afterwards, like there to help pick up the pieces, because we hold you in such high esteem that we would take that kind of disrespect and even and still consider you the GOAT. So count yourself lucky you actually have that kind of fan base that will give you that kind of unconditional love. But stop abusing it, because eventually that reputation is not gonna be enough. So yeah, that's with a heavy heart. I think that's the end of Ronaldo at United. It sucks that it it happened this way, but United sort of opened themselves to that possibility the moment they decided to bring Ronaldo back. And it's something that we had to pay for. But in my opinion, it would have been worse off if we weren't moving in the right direction and doing the right things as a team. And for now, I just think it's just a situation and a thorn on our sides that we need to get rid of. Wished that he would have ended his playing career here, but understand that there's a even better route for him to finish his career, and that is, in my opinion, do his best here than leaving a hero as best as he could, trying the best that he could to at least instilling a winning mentality back into the team, and a fighting mentality, and a quality and hard work and all that stuff, the United way back into the squad alongside a Ten Hag, and then leaving us to move on to pastures new, whether that be in Saudi Arabia, whether that be in the MLS, and finishing out his playing career where it all started in Sporting Lisbon. To me, one of the most perfect footballing stories you could ever write, if you had to. But with his attitude, he might go around just tainting his legacy, because everywhere he goes, he would expect to be the man and be this and be that, and not want to listen to anyone, and then he's just going to be known as this has been, who's a prick to everybody, but no longer has the goods to back it up. Like, it always sucks when your heroes try to stay in the spotlight too long, and end up making an asshole of themselves and tarnishing their legacy. And I hope that he doesn't go down that route. And if he does, he should do that as far away from United as possible. But anyway, covering just to quickly recap the last 3 games. Newcastle draw, toothless in attack. At least Ten Hag is making us very hard to beat, so we're not conceding as much, and we should have done better. So we had some poor refereeing decisions, but we can't leave the match into the referees or VAR's hands, because they're gonna steal it away from us. Bounce back with a game against Spurs, dominated them, whooped their ass, and that's when the Ronaldo thing happened. So that sort of overshadowed a very good win, probably the best performance we had as a team so far under Ten Hag, and we're definitely going along in the right way. I'm very pleased to say. And then Chelsea 1-1 draw, game we should have put to bed within the first 45 minutes of the match, but didn't, because we're lacking serious threat and attack. I think it feels like we really and truly only have, without Martial and without Ronaldo, or even he who shall not be named, who has a case for an R charge, without those clinical finishers, it seems like we just have a bunch of Salahs, Raheem Sterlings and Manes trying to score, which means they have to try 5 times before they even put one on target, and that's extremely frustrating. Chelsea lucky to get a soft penalty after not doing much for the entire match. In the 85th minute, we scoring an equalizer with Casemiro's first goal, which means that we're showing that fight till the very end, which is Fergie-esque, which I love. I'm coining the term Ten Hag time. It's now Ten Hag time, no longer Fergie time, because we scored in the 94th minute with 5 minutes of extra time or something like that. It's just, it's the script that is United. You fight till the very last whistle, and we overcome teams like that. And we did it again. So now we in the era of now Ten Hag time. But disappointed to not walk away with 3 points, because it's probably the best performance we've had away at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea in the last decade. I think arguably one of the better one of the best, at least definitely top 3 performances. And we walk away with a point, so which is a fair result, I guess. Credit to Graham Potter, their manager, who, like, after 35 minutes realized that they were getting overrun and switched the game up, so that he packed, he had an extra guy in midfield, and that sort of evened the playing field and made it very difficult for us to get at one another. Kind of made a bit of a congested game, but at the end of it all, it was 2 teams going hard against one another, and I think a draw was a fair result, given the fact that we didn't deserve to walk away with 3 points because we squandered our chances. But if we had, I think we would have won 3-1 if we were clinical. And that's the end of that for now. We'll get into further details about the Ronaldo situation and the last few games when the next podcast comes out. If you haven't seen the last podcast, which is now the new podcast, which is called the Front 2 podcast with my friend Kyohh, go check it out now. Link will be in the description below or at the end screen now. And go check that out. Listen to us. We'll be back with more information, with more thoughts on what's happening with United. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the rant. You know what? Time to go. Peace out.